Hey everyone, welcome back to the Passive Buddies podcast. And today we are talking about how to build a business that works for you. And as always, I've got my co-host and knowledgeable geezer here, Brandon Duff. How's things, pal?
I am doing fantastic, man. Life is great. Couldn't be happier. What about you?
Good. Yeah, I'm not surprised you're a little bit happy today. You had a lie-in, didn't you, compared to normal?
What was that?
You had a lie-in. You got out of bed later.
Oh, I did actually. Yeah, I got your text message. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning. And I got your text message saying you have a bit of a headache. So it worked out perfect because I so I'll get it's so funny because not really funny, but I stopped coffee for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months, because I wanted to see the effects of how it was on my body. And we went on vacation to Cabo, or maybe it was San Diego, and we stopped by this amazing coffee shop, and I got some coffee, and it was really really good. And that was like the one coffee I had in 2 months. And then we went back home from vacation, and I brewed a cup of coffee, and I had it the last 2 days, and I've been sleeping horrible. Like I toss and turn at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, like 12 o'clock, and I'm going to bed at 8:30 or 9. So I'm sitting in bed for like 2 hours, and it's just like, yeah, it's no fun whatsoever. So I'm gonna stop drinking coffee again because I sleep so much better without it.
Wow, how crazy. Okay, right. Okay, so anyone who's ever going to send or buy Brandon a birthday present, don't buy him coffee pods.
You can buy me coffee pots. I'll still drink it like on a weekend maybe, but because I love coffee, man. It's like a warm hug. It's delicious. But
It's not on a school night.
what?
It's not on a school night.
Right. So I have my coffee cup right here. There's a little bit left and this is from yesterday, but yeah. But let's talk about how we can get a business to work for you, because that is important. And if you are drinking coffee and staying up late at night because you can't fall asleep, then you're going to have a hard time getting up in the next morning. So it's important to have a business that works for you. And so, I mean, you have VAs. I mean, you have a business. You have people working for you. How did that happen?
Do you know, so going back to the offline world, my first business, I went and got a graphic designer, mainly because obviously I'm shopping at graphics. Canva's definitely changed the game and helped a hell of a lot, with all their templates, their drag and drops. But couldn't design a graphic to save my life, mate. Really couldn't. So that was the first thing I went and got solved, because obviously with marketing, there's just a hell of a lot of graphics, isn't it? So I went and solved that problem pretty quick. And that guy is still with me now. And obviously I've been in business for like 8 years. Like I've still not got rid of him. He's staying, obviously. And it was all about leveraging
Got
other
rid of
people's
him.
time for me. Sorry?
You're like, I still haven't got rid of him. Like, not that you want to get rid of him, but it was just pretty funny.
No, if you're listening, buddy, no, I love you. You can stay. But it was just about like leveraging other people's time, because I was busy anyway. Like, obviously, I still had a job at that point. I was still like, I was launching a business. I was staying up late. I had kids. It was like, oh my God. I was like, and I remember watching my dad grow his business. And his business, he was very much like, he was always the painter, not the painting manager, if that makes sense. He wasn't in painting, but for instance, he always picked up the brush and done the work himself. And he'd be there for days, weekends, nights, mornings. Like he was just constantly at his computer. And I was like, I can't be doing it that way. I was like, because it was like, don't get me wrong, he looks stressed. I was like, he's always busy. He never gets time to enjoy his business. And I made that sort of decision earlier. I was like, yeah, I was going to take a cut on profits to make sure I was leveraging other people's times and abilities that I couldn't do. Like, it's pointless hiring someone to do something you can do. Go and solve the problems you can't do first. And that was the biggest one I done, and got that sorted, because I wouldn't have been able to do half as much if I couldn't put like a decent brochure together, a decent graphic in order to sell. I literally just couldn't do it. So that was the first thing I had to sort of solve.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people think it as an expense, but you're really just buying back your time because you're leveraging other people's time. I mean, when we got into real estate investing, when we bought our first two rental units, they were in Nevada, we were at that time in California, so it was like a 4-hour drive, and being able to show units to people, the two houses, it was easy. But then we got our first 4 unit, so we had 6 units at a time, and one had to be renovated, the 4 unit, and so we had to pretty much do 2 different units or apartments or flats, I think they're called in the UK, but we had 2 units that were not ready, and so having to drive back and forth, it was just not worth it, because one, we're spending so much money on gas or flights or time, and so we ended up just getting a property manager, and he took 8%, I think it was 8% at the time, of all the rents. And I thought, well, that's perfect, because he's doing everything for us. Like, he would just send me an email with the person's name, like how much they owed in, like, not back taxes, but collections, their credit score, their work history, and then like their valid driver's license. And if all I had to do was that, that's perfect, because one, I'm getting all the benefits of appreciation, depreciation, all the tax benefits there, the cash flow. I was still cash flow positive from the rental properties, even while paying for him. And at some point, like, you should be and we're not going to go deep into real estate, but you should be accounting for 8% in real estate or whatever you need to pay employees, because at some point you're going to need to hire people to do something for you. If that's taking customer calls, if that's doing property management, or even doing your art. You can't do everything, because if you do everything, you're going to go nowhere. So you need to focus on, I would say, if you're starting out, selling, and then once you make a sale, use that money to reinvest or to use to buy back your time, where you can hire someone to do outreach or setting appointments or anything like that. I think that's super important, where you're able to use money to leverage other people's time, or use money to leverage assets. I mean, another example is with assets. You can literally, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in the US, if I have capital or if I have equity in my property, I can leverage my property and take out equity out of it and use that to buy more real estate. Or I can use it to pay off debt. Like, I'll give you an example. I think I owed like $26,000 on my car. Maybe it wasn't that much. We just bought a Peloton, so I think I was paying $100 a month, and a new TV, and it was $100 a month. And all 3 of those things were like $400 or $500 a month. And so I was able to borrow against my rental property, pay all those off, and free up cash flow. And it only increased my mortgage by like $200. So without doing that, I'd be paying $300 more instead of actually leveraging that property. Then I'm actually making more money by paying down those debts and having that debt inside my property, because now I'm leveraging my property as a cash flow machine in a sense. But you can also do it with software and all sorts of different things. I know you use software in your business. How do you use software or automation to have your business work for you?
So there's 3 big, obviously, softwares that I use across my business that literally takes a hell of a lot of communication and task like creation, like all of those things. All basic admin tasks that you would have to pay a VA to do. And like you've seen, obviously, inside the podcast channel, obviously we've got our own Slack channel for the podcast, obviously, to keep up with what's going on. And you see messages all day long, don't you? Like popping off, and 90% of those are automated messages, depending on where the podcast is or the episode. And so some of the softwares I use is like Zapier. Like, I absolutely love Zapier. in terms of just automating a ton of work. Even when like the agency was in its full flow, we had an automation. The minute that client like paid that money, 34 tasks were done, like completely done. Like half of that onboarding sequence was finished, literally within them paying, just because we built those systems in place and got our time back. Like, I think we were paying, or I think we pay about $30 odd a month for Zapier, and all day long, like it takes away so much of the tasks, and it takes so much away from the admin work that I buy back my time by using Zapier automations. And then obviously, in order to get what they call the trigger points, which is probably a little bit more technical here, we use like ClickFunnels. So when people buy, when people sign up, when people join different things, opt in, all of those are basically somebody else doing the first task, which then automates a ton of other tasks. So that's how we're leveraging software a hell of a lot in our business, in order to take away the admin work, add to Trello boards, like update people like throughout the journey of what's going on, and obviously keep people on their toes in terms of what they're doing. So leveraging systems like ClickFunnels, Zapier, ActiveCampaign for your emails are absolutely massive in a business, in an online business. You can't really ignore. If you want to build a business that does work for you, softwares are going to be one of your biggest friends. What about you? Use obviously like Facebook tools, obviously when you're on Facebook. What other tools you use? Because obviously you've got your YouTube. So how do you sort of speed that process up to help grow that? What sort of leverage do you look at in those sort of running your business, your online business?
Yeah, so I use High Level instead of ClickFunnels. When I first started, after I got into affiliate marketing, before I had Super Facebook tools, I had High Level, and I used it as a white label version of it. So I can put my own branding on it and sell that to people. And so I used High Level because I was able to download ClickFunnels to Comma Club winners funnels in a sense, their page that I had access to. If I wanted to funnel hack them, I could obviously buy their first product and then download their second page, and then buy their next product and download the third page, or whatever their value ladder is. And so I use that. It has built-in workflows. So when I get a sale, then it sends them their first email, their welcome email, like they'll send their login information, and then day 1 task, and then day 2 task, day 3 task. And so that's all built in within High Level, instead of having to connect ClickFunnels with ActiveCampaign or whatever other tools people use for their email. It has some kind of like Zapier built-ins. I had Pabbly Connect, I think it's called. Pabbly. So I have that instead of Zapier. So there's a million different tools and millions of different ways to create something that all do the same thing. You just need to find one that works for you. I think I picked up Pabbly because it was a lifetime membership, and I figured why pay $30 a month? I think I was paying $70 or maybe $90 a month for Zapier, because we had conditional statements in our Zaps. And so it charged a little bit more. And so I was like, well, might as well cut expenses and use something else. And so, I use that. YouTube, I use, I wouldn't say it's automation, more market research. Instead of using, say, what is it? TubeBuddy is one I use, because it kind of gives me a kind of a rundown of keywords that I can use versus just going through Google and figuring it and guessing in a way. It kind of helps me figure out what I should talk on. What else? Some tools. I can plug my own software. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm probably going to be using it through some of these podcasts. But it's just where, say for instance, I get a lot of new friend requests, and then I send them a message and say, hey, what's going on? And being able to send them a message automatically is kind of nice, because then I can just click a button and it'll send them a automated message that says, hey, what kind of books are you reading? I really like what is it, not million, the Mind of a Millionaire, I think it's called. God, I can't even read. Yeah, I can't even.
You like it that much, though, yeah?
No, it was, yeah, I love it. Actually, it's probably one of the best books not best books, but it's one of the books that God, it's bugging me that I can't think of the name now. I'm going to just look at my automated message because that's important. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. So it's pretty much what was kind of all the things that I was doing. It just kind of put it in concrete that I was on the right path in a sense. But The Slight Edge is really good. There's a lot of great books, but we won't get into books today. But yeah, just being able to just send them an automated message when I get a friend invite, or when I'm reaching out to people, or maybe there's someone I haven't talked to before, it will show me a list of all the people that I've talked to. So it just is a good way to simplify my outreach. And I think that software kind of allows us to simplify things, even though it might seem complex when you're starting to use ClickFunnels or High Level or any of these software tools. Once you get it working, it simplifies your life. And it's really a great way to leverage your time and your money, because you don't want to remember to send an email every single day to a student, because that's going to take all day when you have like 100 students, versus just actually having an email campaign do it for you. And so once you have software working for you, you have people working for you, you have assets working for you, then you pretty much have all the time in the world.
Oh, definitely. Especially like leveraging the software, the people all together, and the systems, like building out those systems for people really does allow you to, like, actually, as you know, like I've been getting like migraines, and I've been like really struggling the last few weeks, haven't I? And yet I've been able to basically spend a week in bed knowing that everything's still working. Like, it's been such a relief, because obviously a few years back, if I wasn't working, I wasn't making money. But now it's a case of, like, we're now leveraging the YouTube, we're now leveraging systems, automation, software, sales, and I could literally spend that week in bed, and I was building. It was still building. The business was still growing. We were still getting traffic. We were still getting views. We were still getting sales. All by having these things, and it does allow you, between the VAs and the staff you have, affiliates as well. Is always a good one. I like grabbing affiliates and obviously nurturing your affiliates. They can be some of your biggest fans. That will allow you to bring even more sales in. That allow you to do the amount of holidays that Brandon goes on, which is absolutely fantastic, because he's got those systems, those people in place. I can go to Vedil for a week, which is absolutely great. But knowing the fact that my business is still running, it's looking at those different avenues, isn't it? And those different ways of leverage, isn't it? It's just leveraging other people's time, assets, money, and knowledge.
Yeah, I think it's super important there's always going to be someone better than you in whatever you're doing, but there are people willing to accept less for it. So, which is great, because people are really driven by money. And so if you can find a person that will work 2 times as hard as you for half the cost of what you would pay yourself, then you're doing pretty well. And then you can continuously compound that. You can read The Slight Edge on the compound effect. I think there's actually a book called The Compound Effect also. So using those tactics and having all 3 is like the trifecta of any business, because automation, systems, people, assets, all of those, systems and automation being the same thing. So those 3 things are like kind of like a trifecta of any business. And once you master those, you pretty much can start working on your business instead of working in your business.
Absolutely love it. And I think that sort of covers it, doesn't it? It's like, you've got to be able to put things in place and build a business around your lifestyle, and build a lifestyle around your business. And I think having that, and then the systems and the leverage, can really create something that you don't hate. Because businesses you can fall into that trap where you hate your business. So being aware that obviously it's actually, you're doing this for you, not the business is doing it for you, if that makes sense. And having that sort of mentality.
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story before we wrap this up on exactly hating my business. When I was personal training at the tail end of it, when I knew we were moving to Texas, right before I was going to Burning Man, I was like, I hate waking up this early to just show up and have people that I just wasn't. I wasn't in love with the business anymore, and that showed. And that's probably because I was constantly exchanging time for money, and I wasn't. I was working in a business instead of working on a business, and it just kind of not steamrolled, but kind of compounded itself, where I started just to hate showing up because it was just so. It wasn't motivating anymore. It wasn't challenging anymore. I had a successful business. I kind of just, I don't know how to explain that. I kind of just let it, I was happy to be out. And I would say after we left, because it wasn't challenging. Wasn't in love with it. And if you're not in love with it, kind of like where we talked about earlier in the last episode, where we talked about not having conviction in your offer, that's going to show to other people. And if you're just not in it anymore, that's going to drive you down and your business. And you need to have systems to buy back your time so that you can focus on things that you love. And if that's the business itself and growing it and changing people's lives, or if that's helping people so that you can create a lifestyle that you want to live, then that's, you should find out your why. And that's a whole different topic. But yeah, I think that it's important to, just like you said, have a business that you love and have a business that can create the lifestyle that you want.
Do you know what, mate? I'm not going to add to that, mate, because you sum it up absolutely perfectly. Like the love, the why, and the leverage. So I think we'll leave it there. Obviously, for a fantastic episode. Guys, girls, if you have tuned in for the whole episode, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.